Hi, welcome back to Faraday Academy. Today I want to talk about blogging, how having a blog has helped me throughout my career and in finding jobs, and then also some tips for starting your own blog. Now, I started a Blogger blog about 6 or 7 years ago where I documented my goals of becoming a full-time programmer and landing a professional job in the field. And I would say it was then around 2012 or 2013 that I really set it in my mind that I was going to be a professional programmer, even though it wasn't until 2014 when I really got serious and buckled down and started studying several hours a day. So at the end of 2014/beginning of 2015, I bought the domain gwenfaraday.com and I set up a WordPress blog on one of those shared hosting sites, which looked way better than my old plain Blogger blog with small text that you could barely read. And I made it a point of blogging every single week about my goals, about what I was doing, what I was learning, about the job that I wanted, about everything. And then I also shared that on social media, so I got some people following. I got a surprising number of emails and comments of encouragement. And as you know, in 2015, I got my first job officially as a software developer. And for that job, well, I got it mostly because I had networked and I knew somebody who knew somebody, but they had never read my blog. So I didn't think much about it. I kept going with my blog week after week, kept up with the updates, everything I was doing, what books I was reading, what code I was studying, kept getting great feedback from it, but I never thought of it really as a job opportunity. In January of 2016, I wrote an article for Free Code Camp about my experience in getting my first developer job from 2015, which ended up getting a lot of views and also bringing a lot of people to my blog. Now, this is really when companies started to take interest in my blog. And after that, when I went to interviews, quite a few people from these companies said, "Oh, I read your blog and I liked it." So I was actually going into these interviews with a leg up because people already felt like they knew me because they had read my blog. Even though my blog wasn't anything special, I was just talking about my struggles and successes and what I was working on and my goals. People said they really liked the honesty and putting all that information out there. I also wrote several articles per year for a while for the Free Code Camp blog, which would bring more traffic into my own blog. So I would say it was really my online presence doing things like blogging that really helped me throughout my career. Because instead of having to go out to companies cold, a lot of companies reached out to me or said they read my blog, or if someone knew they would be interviewing me, they looked me up, found my blog, it was linked from my LinkedIn and my portfolio, and then they would read all about me. And there was definitely a huge difference between how people treated me when they had seen my blog and felt like they knew me versus going in cold and me just reaching out to a company who didn't know anything about me. And then also I would say that using it in connection with Twitter, and I uploaded some YouTube series that people could watch. They could see how I spoke, how I wrote code, how I explained things. And even though they were just basic HTML, CSS, JavaScript tutorials that I made because someone was asking for an explanation of how to build this thing, I did get several people reaching out to me saying they wanted to interview me, or I sounded like I'd be perfect for their position because of my blog and these videos. So definitely those two things, YouTube and the blog, plus some outreach on Twitter, have been a very good strategy for me in terms of my career. So unfortunately, I think it was the beginning of 2017 when I tried to migrate my blog and I didn't properly back it up. Ended up losing all my content, so I kind of had to restart from there. And I started doing updates every once in a while. And at that point, I wasn't a junior anymore. I wasn't looking for my first job. So I stopped doing the same type of weekly updates about my struggles and the language I was learning and stuff like that. And I started trying to focus more time on hackathons and side projects, and then writing some articles for Free Code Camp. And I stopped putting my blog on my resume at that point. And I just put the Free Code Camp articles because at that time there were possibly millions of viewers on Free Code Camp. So I got a lot more hits for any article I put there versus on my own blog. And so those blogs looked okay. They definitely looked a lot better than my Blogger blog because I used a theme and they were styled and they looked somewhat professional. Now, I always wanted to be a content creator. I love technical writing. I love teaching. And I was always kind of scared to take that leap and not just have a full-time job and maybe write a couple articles a year and do a few videos here and there. So recently I decided to start rebranding my blog and make it really professional for the next stage of my career. So if you look at my new blog at gwenfaraday.com, the images, the text, everything is a lot more professional than it used to be. And I mix it up between weekly updates and content posts. Plus I have a weekly newsletter that goes out about all my content and other news in the tech industry. And this has actually gotten me some good feedback as well. Unfortunately, I don't get a lot of comments like I used to. I think because it's a new blog and I have to build up to there. But I have gotten quite a few messages and emails saying how they like my content and they appreciate it. So I think I'm on the right track with this new blog, and this is the next step in my career. I would definitely say blogging is one of the best decisions I have ever made. It's unbelievable how you could be just as good as the next person, but walk into an interview where someone has read your blog and the content that you put out there, and you have an automatic leg up because they feel like they know you and you've shown emotion and vulnerability and how you're good at articulating yourself, and you just feel more human to the interviewer. So if you want my advice on blogging, the number one thing is to start blogging today. You can go to wordpress.com if you want, start a free blog right now. If you want it to be a little bit more professional or efficient, go to GoDaddy or Bluehost or any of these other hosting platforms. Buy a $12 domain with your name in it, and then use their one-click WordPress install. Pick a theme. The default theme is totally fine to start with. And then just start writing posts. Write about your goals. Write about where you see yourself in 5 years, what you are learning right now, what struggles you are having, what events you went to, what you learned from them. And then you can start making your own tutorials, helping people. You don't have to be an expert to help someone. You just have to be one step ahead and have learned something that they haven't yet, and you can give them advice. Now, I also recommend setting a regular schedule to blog. So whether it's every Sunday or every Wednesday or twice a week, just something you can do every week. And you can also batch your posts so they come out at the same time. Just schedule it to come out at a certain time in the future. Now, once you have done this for a month or two, I recommend that you write a couple really in-depth articles on a topic. Maybe it's a tutorial or just an explanation of something. Get someone to proofread it, get a nice image for it, and then reach out to blogs like FreeCodeCamp, Dev.to, Software Engineering Daily, any popular programming site, and say, hey, here's some content that I wrote. I would like to also write a piece for your blog on such and such topic, or give them a list of topics you'd be interested in writing about. And that is going to drive a lot of traffic back to your blog and start to get you noticed. That's also a great thing to put on your resume because those blogs have name recognition. Now, this is really a good strategy to have a weekly schedule on your own blog, have a newsletter that people can sign up for so they're updated when you make new posts, and then every maybe 2 or 3 months, cross-post a longer, more in-depth article on a more popular site if you can. I think one of the biggest mistakes that new developers make is not trying to build up their personal brand enough. So blogging is a huge thing you can do for your personal brand. And I also highly recommend you read the book Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk. I'll link it in the description below. It's all about branding yourself, driving traffic, getting name recognition, which will also get you recognized in the industry and help you land the kind of job that you want in programming or technology or whatever it is you want. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments below. If you want to support my channel, please sign up for my Patreon or purchase my book through Amazon, which is also linked below. It's on how to teach yourself how to code and get a job. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.